area. And let me tell you, and ZMTG is very happy right now. There is 4 control decks in our feature match. We're going to start off with the Pioneer seat where we're going to see mono white humans versus a blue white control. Mono white humans on the play, which is exactly where I believe they want to be, Mason. Am I right or am I wrong?
No, you're right. The 1-drop creature deck wants to be on the play. Put that one. That feather is in your cap, my friend. And
Easy.
they say he couldn't do it.
Wait, Thalia? No, not a Thalia. This is going to be the other one. It's going to give +1/+0 and ward 1 to all our human creatures.
Coppercoat Vanguard.
I bet it's the Vanguard, right?
Yeah.
I think I own the other alternate art ones, but moving through. But still,
the old art's really good on that one.
Oh yeah, it's really sick. Big old sword swinging it down, just to pass the or Hall of the Storm Giants and pass the turn. But that could be representing so much here. Could be counter magic, could be removal. Here comes a Thalia's Lieutenant. That's going to eat a no more life. So that's going to go straight to the exile zone. No +1/+1 counters here. Turn everything sideways. Does it not? Does training not happen there, or are they both 2 power?
So they're both 2 power because Coppercoat grows other creatures. It's a bit of a non-buff.
There you go.
A little interesting play there from our humans player. I would have imagined, just running out your 1-drop would have probably gotten the counterspell, because for George's perspective, you need to answer everything. A recruitment officer is quite a big threat. It could also just be that we actually value the recruitment officer more than the Thalia's Lieutenant's +1 power. Could totally believe that, but just definitely an interesting spot here. Typically against these control decks, one thing I think happens a lot, Will, is people get frustrated. And I think that's because they too often play into the control deck. They let them dictate the pace of play. They play on the turns they want to. One of the great things we saw in round 1 from Andrew Ellenbogen is he just kind of made plays that were slightly suboptimal in exchange of not playing to their spells.
Oh, okay. Here's one of the big hits, and it looks like it might be. Nope. Okay, I was about to say Battery Zone, but it's not. Adeline is obviously a huge payoff for this deck. Really lets you go wide as well as keeping a big hit on the. Oh no, was it a big fatty bum bum on the battlefield?
Adeline, not a fatty boom boom. Sorry, that's a reanimate. That's a reanimate only thing. You've got to be above 6 power and toughness on your own. You got to be a fatty boom boom.
I'm learning. What is that? Adeline's just what? Just an Adeline.
Yeah. Just.
I'm looking at how many sweepers are in this deck. Looks like we got 3 verdicts, 3 sunfall. Other than that, it's just a lot of counter magic removal spells. Something I do want to bring up, which I haven't seen before, is High Noon in this control deck list. I know a lot of people are thinking, what is High Noon? Maybe we can get that on the screen for everybody at home to have a look at production. But it is a 2 mana enchantment, 1/1 white for each player can't cast more than 1 spell each turn. And then it has a little bit of extra text there where we can sacrifice it and deal 5 damage to any target later on in the game. But interested to see that in this list. Maybe that's the way we're trying to slow down some of these Boros Convoke decks.
Yeah, Boros Convoke, Arclight Phoenix, just generally plays really well into your counter spells, right? Like if you can only cast 1 spell a turn and I'm playing counter spell, and Planeswalkers, it makes it really easy for me to sort of keep the pace of the game really slow, right? Like imagine if George on turn 2 had just played that, we couldn't have been able to double spell. Now we wouldn't have had a counter spell up. It isn't a perfect solve, but it is like a card you can main deck that's a bit more effective than saying something like Damping Sphere.
Well, we saw Wandering Emperor come down. That's going to gain us 2 life, but still a bit of damage coming across, dropping George to 4. No follow-up play here, though, so maybe just a redundant dead land in hand. We're going to cash in the Wandering Emperor, make a 2/2 Vigilant Samurai. But what else have we got for this turn? Okay, that's not what we really want. We don't want the Citadel. That's, I imagine, naming white or blue, but it will mean that Field of Ruin can get turned on, or maybe even that's Hall of the Storm Giants. But we're going to need something here as we add to the battlefield. I forgot the name of it. It's the one that makes day or night and a nightmare for coverage.
It is Brutal Cathar.
Thank you very much. That's why it's a team effort. And that can get that token off the battlefield, which I imagine George was hoping was going to be a blocker here. There it is on the screen for you all at home and myself. Day-night now being added to the game state. And turn everything sideways. This is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 damage, which means we need to answer at least 2 of these threats or gain a little bit of life. Another Wandering Emperor would keep us alive here. 3. A sharp. But what can we hit for 1?
We could hit March of Otherworldly Light and pitch a white card.
Play to your outs.
Worth noting too, we see Flex Slot here on George DeVore's arm. He actually made that website, but there are also people that sponsor some teams and do various stuff. And actually, both these teams are Team Flex Slot. They got paired to each other. So if you're happy, little acquaintance. And I do see
We
the mark
had it.
in the veto.
Can I just add, obviously Flex Slot, great website, helps. It's what they actually, if you want to look at any of these deck lists on the NRG website, the Flex Slot is what powers that. But as a promotion thing on the sleeve when you're on screen, that's cool. I got a lot of time for that.
Yeah, I like it a lot more than the jerseys.
Oh yeah, like if it's on front, we don't have a camera pointing at your chest, but we have it pointing at your hands. So that's awesome. I've got a lot of time for that. Okay, we're still turning and burning through our deck a little bit, though. There's still threats on the battlefield, and they are both lethal. And we don't find it, so we're scooping it up here for George. But taking down game number 1 here, mono white humans. But luckily, a team event, we can switch across to one of our other tables. Let's have a little look at a control mirror. Okay. What about the other table?
Yeah,
production.
It looks like what's happening is someone's playing a subtlety, someone else is getting subtlety. Oh, right. Okay. Sarah Shearer with Bant Toxic. Finally, a deck that doesn't use a stack.
Okay, but it looks like we're being able to answer all the toxic threats here. There's a land. What we're following up with. This is going to be this is the one that can exile something on ETB, so you can get rid of that token if it does resolve. It looks like we've got counter magic up here for. Yep, that's where we're going to fire that off straight away. Not let that resolve, which is kind of where we want to be, right? It means that we get to keep the Wandering Emperor plus a token, plus we put a plus and counter on it. Yeah, I like it. We're turning and burning. Not many cards in hand, though. Looks like just the one.
Yeah, it looks like we have a Sunfall, but we also have this Field of Ruin, which is actually huge because the Mirrex is one of the cards that can sometimes be a huge problem for us. We had the Anchorage that we could have also animated and maybe pushed a little bit of damage as well. One of the things about these blue-white control decks is they have to actually win the game. They don't have something that wins it for them. They need to actually assign lethal at some point. Some of us do play Jace, which can mill, but against a deck like Bant Toxic, that is not a viable strategy.
Yeah. Don't worry, chat. We'll be going back to control mirrors. I imagine that is going to be the last game that is going to happen in this event. So don't worry. We all get your blue white mages fix today, but we need to see how this can advance here in our standard seek. So we can get the idea is flicking back between all the games when we need to. Obviously, our main one of humans versus blue white control that's currently going through sideboard right now. So we've added a couple of 1/1s that when they die, we'll make pest tokens. Is that what they make?
Yeah, it makes the whatever they're called.
I think they're pests, but it doesn't really matter. They're going to get exiled. We're going to make an incubate token with 3 counters as those 3 creatures. Tick down a Wandering Emperor. Get a 2/2 samurai. End of turn and bounce. The temporary lockdown back to hand. Getting the jaw. Is it Jawbone Duelist on the battle? Thank you. Jawbone was. I was like, it's jaw something. But not great on this current battlefield. Lots of blockers for the 1/1 double strike and just having to pass the turn back. And the turn we're going to flip this, make the a 3/3 Phyrexian. And now just quite a lot going on, I suppose.
Yeah, and this is one of the problems. Like Sarah didn't seem to get. I mean, if our graphic is correct, she has no infect on Ken.
Yeah.
Meaning that we're not proliferating, we're not getting anything, we're not getting these extra bonus from our corrupted cards. And we're in such a good place. Just what? Sunken Citadel. Get a colored dice, my friends. That's what I do. There you go. Put a blue dice, put a white dice. Let people know.
It's like you could hear it.
Yeah. But yeah, no, this is a spot where we can tick up on sure, that works too, I guess. That whatever, it's fine.
It is what it is.
Yeah, it's definitely against the tournament rules to do that, but that's fine. It's not the end of the world. We will.
How are we getting on with our Pioneer Seat production? Because I think this one would, we're just basically the blue-white deck is not going to win quickly, but it looks like all the tools are there to be able to, lock this one up. It's just a matter of time, and that's why
just be next turn. Okay. Well, we refused to fire the Anchorage up. One day we would get our attacks, but not today.
Not today, but maybe next turn. Okay, we're going to make 2 1/1s end of turn, so that's going to add the 2 Phyrexian mites. That's what I keep saying. Pest. It's the mites that's makes. Thank you. 2 mites, end of turn. Of course, they can't block, but they do have Toxic 1 as well as being 1/1 creatures. So, the infect's been updated. Look, 7 counters.
Okay, so 7 is much different. Yeah, that makes that game a lot more reasonable. I was like, I know Sarah. I doubt she would keep playing. I don't know why she is if he is at 0 infect, but that explains a lot. Let's check out our Pioneer matches. It looks like a couple turns have gone by, but not much. We had a Shark Typhoon cycled, meaning we're probably missing land drops, Will.
Yeah, that's not where you want to be in this, as we're going to see Containment Priest come down. This isn't the matchup for it, but I actually am a huge fan of this sort of sideboarding strategy against control decks. Having flash threats, being able to add to the battlefield. You counter it, sure. Now in my turn, I can actually start deploying more threats. So yeah, this is a cool line. Plus, it also does trigger the training ability, meaning that it's going to grow to a 2/3. And then we get to play something for our turn, which is going to be counted anyway, so I don't have to remember the name of it.
Anointed Peacekeeper.
You're so good at this, Mason. You're so good. You should be like a caster or something.
I should. They should let me cast. Yeah. Yeah. What I think is like with the Containment Priest, I love the flash too. It also weirdly comes up sometimes, right? Like like there are just times where it stops things from entering the battlefield out of these decks. So it is just kind of reasonable as a flash jutsu, and sometimes you just get lucky in it, like high rolls.
I was about to say, when my control players missing their land drops, I am activating these Mutavolts so quickly to get in underneath this counter magic, and we see a Get Lost is going to be targeting one of them. 2 map tokens generated from that, but more importantly, 6 damage is going to happen here. And just passing the turn back to George. Needs to start finding some land drops on the top of their deck. Doesn't...
10?
9. Jeez. Yeah, Mutavault's such a key card in this matchup, and just having to pass the turn back again. Okay, another planes at the top. Not what we want. We're definitely looking to deploy more action onto the battlefield when we can, but at the minute, still a 2-turn clock happening if we animate this Mutavault. And we're going to go for a map.
Yeah, slight messed up there. Probably not mapping first. If you hit something like a Mutavault off the top, you kind of wish to play it, but it will not be the end of the world.
Ooh, a wedding invitation on the top. That's going to be a good here's wedding
getting one of those from you in the mail soon, I think.
But that's good, because now it's got a +1/+1 counter. It will trigger the other ability of training and being able to put another +1/+1 counter, which we see there is going to be added just straight away.
Yeah, we got all these wraths.
Oh,
yeah.
okay. Oh, that's lethal. Is that lethal? Yeah, that's just straight up lethal. That's 9 points of damage. Okay, we see humans taking that game down nice and quickly, which means all the blue-white players in the room are going to be happy. Let's have a little look at that middle table, please, production. Let's see what's going on in Modern.
For what it's worth, these players, like we said before, are teammates on Team Flex Lot together. One of them, Brickman here, tweeted, 74 card mirror. So they have 1 card different. I don't know what the card different is, but it comes up. It would be huge bragging rights at the home.
All right, I'm going to try and find it. I'm in it. You got me invested. Let's see if I can find what the 1 card difference is in this mirror. Give me a second while I just get up the old lists. Kahira. Okay, come on, Will. You can do this one time. What's
Chris Vanakening took down the Narset. This game has been going. When we were last here, Teferi Time Reveler was on the board. Subtleties were being bashed back and forth, and now, at this point of the game, looks like the One Ring is getting cast.
Sorry, keep talking. Keep stalling while I look.
So we're having an awkward moment here, Will, with both players where we're control decks, so our Supreme Verdicts are not very good. So both players are just sitting on a couple of verdicts, it looks like. To see a Solitude in the turn here. Probably supposed to activate the One Ring in response. I mean, the Leyline Binding might get you, but it's really not the end of the world. Maybe it is. I don't know.
I'm really struggling to find what this card is. I think one person's got a Misty Rainforest, and I'm trying to work out what the other one's got instead of it. I think it's... Oh, no, it's not an island.
I'm going to cancel Brickman if he tweets we're on 74, the same 75, and the difference is Misty versus, flooded. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Like it's Jover. You're playing the same deck. It doesn't matter. We are going to see the Leyline Binding answer that Solitude.
It's a 73. So basically, instead of playing 3 polluted deltas, it's a Scrolling Tarn and a Misty Rainforest.
Sure.
Do we? Well, let's move back across to standard, which has probably got something else happening opposed to the mirror. As the days are doing gets cast, great timing there by myself. Love to see it. Just keep that one, if you can, production. Just keep that in the bottom left-hand corner for us, so we can have a little look at it.
Yeah, I'll keep the players updated as they are tanking on what to do, what they're doing.
Yeah, that's pretty big. Okay, we're firing off. So we ban toxic, blue-white control game up here in our standard seat. Maybe we could go. Just do you want to? Let's go back to modern. Sorry, production. Let's go back to modern just while this one sort of sets up, because this is a big turn with Days Undoing going on, and
yeah, they're just fighting over it.
Make sure the right mana is tapped. Counter spell. Okay, so counter spell is going to happen. That's one of the new ones you can get from the Magicon. Okay, so we just had to make sure that there was an answer there. One control player with a active One Ring. The both players with a bunch of cards in hand, and I think this might be what's able to kind of push us ahead, so to speak, is having an active One Ring opposed to my opponents. Also, a way to untap that One Ring.
Let's get out of here. Let's actually watch something that's going to happen. The other player has 3 Supreme Verdicts in hand. They're just it's over for them. I mean, like they can maybe win, but like they are really far. They have 2 in a Solitude, so like it.
Yeah.
It's going to go for a while.
All right, back to standard we go. Let's go have a little look.
The developing turns are the most important turns, as it looks like Kin has actually missed on land drops, and Sarah has not. She's having... Oh, that's why her lands look weird. She's all doing the illegal thing with the lands. All right, so the Thran portal has the color it's making underneath it.
And we're making one's end of turn before anything like a not after all, any sort of counter magic can stop that. So deploying 2 threats for the price of 1 card is kind of where we want to be, or where we're going to at least need to be if we want to push across more toxic damage. As we turn them sideways, going up to 4 toxic, down to 17 life. So I was having a look what else is in this list, if there's any spice in the sideboard that could potentially be brought in here. This list is kind of stock by the looks of it, as well as stock as Bant Toxic can be. Doesn't really get too many extra toxic creatures added to it with all the sets coming out.
I'll say this though, if you're wanting to get into standard, it's a pretty good deck, and you're going to have it for a whole other year. Like you're not really going to lose anything. You're not going to gain anything really, except maybe some sideboard cards. But you have a deck you can play for like $60. It's kind of great.
Yeah, it's got like a nice entry price point. None of the cards are really staples in other formats, so you can kind of get into it. Especially standard, it is a cool format currently. But here comes counter spell anymore. That's going to move it into exile. 2 more coming across. Now we're looking for kind of a sweeper here. I guess I can see a get lost. I can see a marching hand. So both these creatures do have their days numbered. But on the other side, I've got another way of flashing in a couple more toxic creatures. We've got counter magic now up due to the is it corruption? Is that the right mechanic I'm thinking of? Corruption being above 3 means that it is just going to be a hard counter spell if you want to cast the Bring the Ending. 2 mana counter target spell unless your opponent plays 2, but if they are corrupted, then it is just a straight up counter spell because they've got more than 3 toxic counters. Could come in huge here.
Yeah, when you hit the corrupted status, a lot of the cards in the Bant Toxic get a lot stronger. Great. Your little blue dice, perfect.
They heard you.
Yeah,
that's people don't know that, but behind the scenes, we've got to make sure Mason is happy at all times, has his coffee, has his massages, make sure that he gets food brought in, make sure the headset gets removed every once in a while.
The game state needs to be eligible for the viewer. We need to follow the rules. No one wants to be this way, but we have to.
Okay, we're going to try and make 2 more tokens end of turn. Looks like that's going to resolve. So that would mean that there's 4 mites on the battlefield, which we know are 1/1s with toxic 1. So all this chip damage is adding up, and it looks like we're letting the untap happen. So we've now got counter magic. Oh, we also get the Rot Priest. Turn everything sideways. Try and destroy 1. We don't have green mana. That's why we didn't deploy it.
Yeah, we don't have green. We're up to 4 toxic, it looks like.
do we start cracking some of these map tokens and try and find some green? Looks like that's what we're going to start off with.
Oh, that's a map. I thought that was a toxic token. Excuse me.
No, these are maps. From we've had 2 get losts happen so far.
Looks like we're gonna. It looks like we're looking at the top cards slightly off screen for us. Oh, we're getting actual map token to make sure that it's revealed to both players. It looks like.
Okay, so land to hand. That's a good one to hit. That one's going to not only be able to produce green this turn, but also in future turns be able to make 1/1 mites. And we decided against deploying the Rock Priest. Just means that Wrath sort of effects are going to be a bit worse here, because we could just start applying 1/1 mites at the end of turn. That's what we see. It's only going to cost us 1 point of life.
Yeah, and this is probably game like Shearing us at the point where she has a hard counter spell. She has a bunch of creatures on board, and Candy can only really do like 1 or 2 things a turn where, we need to kill 2 of these creatures.
So we're going to try and have a block plus removal, but we know it's not going to be enough, which means it's going to be able to, are we going to, can we bounce it? Is it non?
Yeah, I assume Sarah says
it's
non-land permanent.
Return target non-land permanent.
It also proliferates, so it might be a situation where
can't target it. There you go.
Yeah. It should also, I think it says just thing, so we can always bounce our own. Like, I think you're allowed to bounce your own card, but we'll see. So
we're going to try and march in response. We're going to target our own. That's going to be proliferate. That's going to be the game. That's going to move us to a 1-1 record in our standard. Obviously, Pioneers finished. So you know what that means, ladies and gentlemen. We're moving back to Modern to see what sort of. Oh, it looks like we've got at least someone's taken a game in Modern here. How are they getting on? Looks like they're just coming to the end of their sideboarding there as well. So
yeah, let's just stick with standard because their game is going to go for a while. We'll just stay here. They're shuffling up. But yeah, like ultimately, Brickman, like we talked about before, the other player just had 2 verdicts and a solitude, and we had an active One Ring going with kind of a full grip and like I think slightly more mana with a Narset. It was just going to be an insurmountable position. I wouldn't actually be surprised if it was just a concession where it's like, hey, if we're going to win, right, we need to like just basically win game 2 and game 3. We both don't want to get draws. We're friends, A draw in this sort of event this early is not good. Let's just scoop and try and play, as fast as we can, because those players were playing very quickly. They know what it takes in order to not hit these rounds. So.
Yeah, and as you say, it's basically a 75 mirror as well. So there's no surprises moving forward there. So they're going to shuffle it up. Is there a way that they can get into 3 games? We'll find out. We don't know, but we will be going back down to our standard table because it's a little bit more interactive and back and forward where blue-white versus Ban Toxic. I feel like Ban Toxic is probably meant to be favored in that match, meant to kind of be winning that one because it's got, as you say there, lands that can produce creatures. It's got ways of counter magic now, but we need to get that first 3 points of Toxic in. So looking at opening hands, do we have keeps on both sides? Still haven't seen a Rock Priest actually enter the battlefield yet. Going into game 3 here from Sarah.
Yeah, it's one of those things where if Ken has, and it looks like both players are mulliganing, if Ken has temporary lockdown on the play, it's going to be so massive, right? Sarah's going to spend turn 1, turn 2 developing threats, and then she wants to play a kind of Delverish game after that, She wants to hit you a little bit, keep you off, make you play around, my soft counter magic. I've got, things like Spell Pierce, whatever you got to be careful of. And I'll charge the mites if you don't, I take my Mirrex. So she needs that early infect to happen so that she doesn't have to tap out more and play into his game plan. So Ken's going to need some early interaction or something like temporary lockdown to clean up those early creatures to keep the pressure off him. And if he does, we might see a repeat of game 1 where he kind of just, eventually finds a way because her deck does not keep up pound for pound on power level.
That's a really good breakdown of basically how this is what is needed to be able to secure the W in this match. Just having a little quick look there at what chat was saying, and I believe I can name a deck that has no win cons that I've seen played. It was the blue-white decks that used to play the vial that shuffled their graveyard back into their deck, and that was the win con, was basically controlling the game and making sure your opponent drew all the cards in their deck. Not saying it's my favorite format I've ever seen played. I think I might be going down to 5 cards here. Not what you want to be doing going into a game 3 when your team's already a match down.
Yeah, but luckily, if Sarah's making this mulligan, we're happy because we actually get to mulligan, right? Like if we just had a bad hand, or a hand that doesn't get the job done, we're just losing anyway. So now, we can at least have a chance at winning. And if Sarah has something like, like a Skrelv into a Jawbone Duelist, that's 4 toxic on turn 3 if we go for it. And it looks like she has something similar.
Rot Priest plus March. We spoke about how good that can be moving forward there. Well, there's the Jawbone off the top as well, just as you said. We got lots of options for turn 1 as well here. Okay, this is as 5-card hands go. This isn't bad.
Yeah, no, I mean, one of the nice things about these decks that are like so mana efficient is that you get to like actually have playable hands when you mulligan. And one thing I've been telling people a lot recently is like, if your deck doesn't work when it's mulliganing, it's probably just not a good deck. And like it's a sign of a great deck when they can mull to 5 and still have great draws like this.
Okay, we're going to get in there. That's 1 point. Obviously, 3 is the key. That's the first step we want to get to. What do we want to deploy? And what are we soft to? Temporary lockdown next turn, that could come down, but are we seeing hand there is a destroy evil, so that would be a really good answer, like a follow-up answer to that.
We need to draw an actual white land. We have the Seed Core, which works for Phyrexians, but we don't have actual white mana. One of the problems with the Bant Toxic deck is it plays a very, let's say, ambitious mana base. So we're going to now go up to 4 toxic.
Yeah, this double striker, especially when you pair it with Skrelv, which adds an extra +1 toxic to it. So it's actually 4 toxic every time it connects. It can really grow pretty quickly. And now on the other side, we're seeing getting flashed in. Now this is one that I've seen popping up a little bit here and there. I'm trying to find the name of it. If I can find the actual deck list, here it is. It is
Capsule Flinker.
Yep. Now tell me what that one does.
Capsule Flanker has 3 modes. You can scry and gain life, you can exile a graveyard, or get a +1/+1 counter for each creature left the battlefield this turn.
You're so good at this. I haven't even been able to find the card yet. But
my brain's very normal. It's very normal, I would say. I'd say invite me to your parties. I'm a good time.
I like to party.
Yeah.
Okay, what we got going on here? Right, I finally got the deck list up for me. 3 copies in the main. And we're not scared. We're turning them sideways.
Yeah, I like it. Capsule Flanker is actually a card you sometimes see in Pioneer because it's also a cat for the Kahira sideboard. So, it does a little bit of a lot of places. Also, you see it happens in Convoke as a way to answer, cards like the Phoenix deck, but also if your opponent wraps you, you can play this, and it's all in one place, but you get a pretty big creature.
Yeah, and it looks like we're willing to, throw under the bus into the double striker. We don't want to be taking 2 more toxic. Doesn't line up well with just the 1 toughness here, but yeah, we got to do what you got to do. Missing on lands here is a bit of an issue. Here comes a Field of Ruin added to the battlefield. There's another land. It does produce white. Sorry, blue. I believe that's the one.
Ghost.
Okay, lots of options in hand though. Are we just going to go straight to combat? We're having a little count.
Yeah, we're seeing. Is that a Prairie Stream or is that Prairie Stream or is that Restless Anchorage? What's going on over there?
It's very beautiful. Very beautiful.
Yeah,
art.
it's great. I love that art.
Okay, let's turn them sideways. 3 damage, 3 toxic if these connect.
And we're at 4 toxic is what this is saying?
Yeah, 4 toxic currently. Okay, we're going to try starting off with a Get Lost. On the Jawbone. Sawbone.
Yeah, a little surprised not to see Sarah deploy the Rock Priest at the start of all this. I kind of thought that was going to be her line to play around removal / force Ken's hand. I guess we'll charge them. Makes sense.
Being very patient with it. I think we see double removal spell, double counter spell in hand, plus a Wandering Emperor. So now we've got the ability to play both here. So that this is a nice juicy target for that negate.
Oh, this is it's so over. We're gonna get negate probably into Flash and the Wandering Emperor and just exile this Crawling Chorus. And Chorus is such a pesky threat because if it dies, it leaves behind a Might, but exiling it does not. So now Ken has stabilized the battlefield. Now Sarah has a handful of threats. We missed on those land drops, but it is a tough place to be.
Okay, so we're just going to deploy the Rot Priest. Of course, Rot Priest, whenever we target a creature, we can put 1 toxic counter to our opponent.
Mm-hmm.
what else are we leaving up here? So we've got a way to bounce it back, which will trigger, plus the proliferate. And this is where things get a little dicey, right? A little scary moving forward. And we're going to go for the bounce and the turn, see if we can get the token off the battlefield. This might be a good enough target to counter. Having a little look which one we want to use. And it's going to be the we don't want that. We're going to into exile, kind of leaving up the other abilities on this new one. People calling it Cryptic Command. What were your thoughts on this? Bear in mind, I've played with Cryptic Command, so I have an opinion with it. But
yeah, I've played Cryptic Command too. Cryptic Command is much better. This card's much more versatile though. Like the ability to play it on turn 3 matters a ton. It's modern day Cryptic Command, right? Like you only get one mode for 3 mana, but for 5 mana you get 2, and that flexibility matters a ton. So it's nice.
Okay, we're cracking one of these maps, adding a +1/+1 counter, meaning it's now going to be a 2/3, which is a great sized attack into that samurai on the other side, just a 2/2 vigilance, while leaving up 2 mana. But we're gonna fully tap out. We're saying, have you got it? Skrelv Hive coming down here. This is a great threat if it can stick, but it is not going to stick. Now we are no cards in hand, just mercy to our own draw step. It might look like a Sunfall, maybe. Just a quick flash there.
Yeah, Sunfall would be nice. Memory Deluge would be nice. The Wandering Emperor would be pretty good.
So how do we kind of navigate this? Like, would we play around Cat Magic, play around Wraths? Would we find a Wrath of last turn? Or do they want us to deploy more to the battlefield? Can we deploy more moving forward? We've got a good arsenal of spells in our hand. Just if we deploy them in the wrong order, we're going to get real. We're not going to like the outcome.
For sure. By the way, we talked about our mirror match in Modern. Garrick's already won game 2. They are going to game 3. So there will be a chance, Sarah, her team can still win this. We thought maybe with Brickman, up a game in the blue-white mirror might be able to win it that way. But here we go. Crawling Chorus gets deployed.
Why are we not tapping the seed core for these and leaving up the like white mana, so to speak? Is there a reason for that?
Seed Core can grow the creature, so maybe that's the plan. I don't think Seed Core triggers Rot Priest. It's been a while since I've read Rot Priest.
No. It's got to be a 1/1 creature for it to target. And
that's right.
Being a 1/2.
But does that trigger the Rot Priest's ability of targeting? I don't think it does. I think it says when a spell targets. Whenever a creature becomes the target of a spell. Yes. Okay. So the Seed Core doesn't just trigger for 1, which I thought maybe was the reason.
Okay, so we're happy to get like a little trade here. That's what we're going to pump it into a 3/2, so it gets the samurai off the battlefield. Oh, it might just be double land in hand. That might not be a Sunfall. It might just be the Art of Planes that I'm seeing.
I think you're right. And it looks like we're in a Field of Ruin now. So this will also open us up to animating our Restless Land in order to block. It does give Sarah another mana on the end of turn, so she can just charge the might, get some more infect creatures. But it freezes up in different ways.
Yeah, this is a really close game on both sides. You know what I mean? One misstep for both players here. One bad draw could spell the end of this match, and then it would all come down to that middle match, that modern blue-white control mirror that we've got happening. Negate was drawn for a turn. Perfect timing to be able to answer this. Untap. Another land. I think that's a coast and going to come into play tapped if it is deployed this turn. We're going to map token on the Rot Priest. Reveal. Add another counter. So that's going to be another snare that can be drawn next turn.
Looks like we bin the snare.
Well, we've got one in hand as well. I wonder if we're trying to set up for a phasing out turn here, because that's another one. That's 6. Phase out both. That's 7, 8, and then damage. So if we can connect one more time with both these creatures with just 2 land in hand, I suppose there is a creature land that can go on blocking duty here. Playing it slow. I love it.
Yeah, Ken just on land. Sarah with Discharge might still just gets to, like you said before,
Wandering Emperor. Wandering Emperor's the draw. But now it's really awkward if we target. If anything targets and then we just phase out in response, that's just lethal.
Yeah, but if Sarah ends a turn charge the mites, needed to play that land there. By not playing the land, we can't animate the anchorage, which means we are actually just dead if Sarah plays the charge of the mites. No reason to hold that land.
Good,
But
good ping there. Oh, okay.
all right, nice.
Now we're playing the land.
All right, looks like I guess we motioned like going to beginning of combat or something. I don't know.
But you phase out both creatures here. So blue, play 1 blue, discard phase 2. That's 2 to you. Yep. And then untap. You got four creatures, 1 blocker.
And that's game because we have a land in hand.
Down. Okay, it's going to come down to it. Who's going to be able to win the mirror match of blue or white? Remember, both teams on the same deck. This is Team Flex slot. Moving across to it here, we've got Narsets, we've got Teferis, Leyline Bindings.
So we just resolved Days Undoing, and we have the Narset, and we Leyline Binding Brickman's Narset. So this Days Undoing is going to be a draw 7 for Garrick, and probably just a draw 1 for Brickman because he probably didn't draw anything this turn.
Well, and I thought we just saw the toxic deck win. This is toxic as it gets in this mirror match. That's so okay. We came in at a good point, but this is going to be brutal. Draw a fresh 7 set. Your opponent can draw 1, and a lot of ponders in hand there. I actually really want to get these out of ponders, but obviously they spiked horrifically once they got unbanned. So I'm kind of damn. But if I'm going to buy them, maybe I'll buy them next time in America on the NRG website. That's where you can pick up all your, the new cards that are printed, especially with Modern Horizons 3 coming out. RIP my bank balance. Narset was the draw on time. Oh, Days Undoing.
We Days Undoing back. We have Teferi 3 in play. It's all good. Like, we'll both have no cards in hand, but at this point, Brickman, that's so good. That's like literally the best draw.
That's cool.
Yeah, you just have to play it. I mean, I guess, so you have Teferi, but you already minus the Teferi in order to get the Narset back, so you can't do it in the draw step, which would be the actual best time. Are we waiting?
I think we got a force negation.
Yeah,
in hand.
Garrick has too many cards. We cannot. I mean, I guess Brickman's waiting. We know there's a Leyline Binding in the hand that could have potentially get this Narset, which means you have to fight over it. This is I understand where Brickman's coming from, but it's very greedy.
Maybe you need to get greedy in this mirror match. Everything on the line for your whole team. One of them wants to have a 4-0 record going into the next round, giving themselves the best possible chance. Because, of course, it is 7 rounds today.
Garrick, you've been playing so fast. I need you to do more than 1 card a turn on Narset. It's just you've been playing lightning speed, and then Narset. It's like, let's take a minute, one at a time. Live it up.
Counterspell added to hand. It's really cool to see like all the American players. You've all got these like really nice counter spells from the Magicon. Well, we haven't had the one in Europe yet, so there's like they're not in circulation over here. Okay, here comes Leyline's Binding.
Yeah. Yeah, we see Brickman has counterspell and force negation. I imagine the cards are interchangeable, so I would lean towards playing force and negation because it's 3 mana. But the other control experts.
You don't have to worry about. Obviously, we just saw a counterspell found off the Narset, but with Teferi on the battlefield means that it cannot be deployed now. So yeah, that's going to get exiled. Subtlety. This is going to be the counter magic.
Yeah.
Now we're going to see that play, I imagine. And look, really, the best card off the top is a land, I guess. So we could play a land into a Narset. Solitude was the draw, though.
Garrick has another Days Undoing in hand. I don't know. If my opponent kept asking about the Teferi, I definitely would have just cast Days Undoing. It would have got countered. But yeah, we're going to see the draw step Days Undoing. That means Garrick has no cards in hand. Brickman's going to draw 1. Just 1, because the other opposing Narset's in play. Now, the Kahira could get picked up and played. That's going to just be the turn, assuredly, because there's no other plays.
I don't hate that. That's not bad. That's going to be apply pressure to the board. Production. How much time is left in this round? Just out of interest.
I'm going to guess 12.
I'm going to go with 8.
Price is Right rules. I'm going to lose.
9. Okay, I'll take it.
Ooh. Speaking of taking it, whiff on the Narset is huge for Garrick. Yeah. That is massive.
That is not where we were. Oh, hold on. The one card that was drawn for Justin was Counterspell, and we were able to hit that Kira.
Well, land. Yeah. Land, and now we can just put in our own Kahira. No reason not to. Oh, it's Guy Reach Sanitarium is that weird land. That's why we're not doing it. Okay.
Oh, are we hard locks?
Yeah, I think now Garrick never gets another draw step. And as long as Brickman doesn't destroy his Teferi, Garrick can never respond. So that flex lock. That might be a concession.
Flex lock, we realize that's the hard lock. Flex lock takedown. Congratulations to them. I think we're gonna get one of them in for a winner's interview this round, where just I want to know more about flex lock. I've seen it floating around quite a bit on Twitter now, so we can get a word from the actual people that are not even sponsored by them, but a big push behind them. So we're gonna get George in to have a talk about that. So if you've got any questions for them, let us know. It kind of went how we thought it was going to be. I feel like Humans was going to be favored. I felt like Ban Toxic, and then the literally the same control mirror is a toss up. Who can get that lock first? Coming in, Narset, Safaris, Days Undoing, madness happening. But I'm glad that we managed to show it to you all here. And that's not going to be it, because we've got more rounds after today. 3 more rounds, then a cut to top 8. So that's 5 rounds for everybody that's really good at math out there. But this is going to be the last round for me and Mason after this interview, chat. So it's always been a pleasure as ever to be in the booth and share it with you, Mason. I'm going to get my thanks out the way nice and early so we can get more magic action for everybody. And if you do have any questions for FlexLot, let us know. So we've seen 5 games of Magic today. We've seen we saw May take it down. We've seen the Pioneer, Standard, Modern. What's got to be your highlight today so far, Mason?
Yeah, I mean, it's probably going to be that round one of the round one, the finals we watched this morning. I mean, we both thought May was dead, sure in game 2, but definitely in game 1. That was my favorite, and it was awesome to do commentary with you. Can't wait for the future. It looks like George is ready to interview.
Let's go. Let's get down to George. How are we doing, George? I need to start. You're in the booth with Will and Mason. We're going to ask some questions. Obviously, we just seen that match up there. It was a coin flip on who was going to draw better it is. But we're going to try and talk to you about Flex a little bit here. My first thing is, one, I see it all over the place on Twitter. It's a good word on the promotion. And I love that you've got it on your arm. We were talking about, it's great having T-shirts, but you don't really see that in Magic the Gathering when it comes to coverage. Having it on your arm like that is such a big brain play. Love to see it. So can you just give us what is FlexLot? Let's start with that one. What is FlexLot?
So FlexLot is started as a sideboarding guide website. So you've seen sideboard guides. Everybody kind of knows what they are if they're in the Magic competitive scene. Right, you've got your 60 card main deck. Sometimes it's 80. You've got your 15 card sideboard. But that's not where the strategy ends. That's not all you register for an event. You have to map out, you have to prepare what other people are going to bring, make sure your 15 cards and your 60 cards make sense for what you expect to play against. And that's kind of the hard part. I think that's what separates, you have a good deck versus you have a good plan for an event. And so a lot of times these cyber guides are on Excel sheets or Word documents, wherever it is. They're difficult to digest. Sometimes they're difficult to disperse around your friends or your patrons or whoever it is. And so I built this website that'll allow people to do that a lot more interactively. There's drop downs, there's UIs, there's drag and drops, there's card images. And so a couple years ago when I started making sideboard guides and publishing them and dispersing them around the community, I kind of got frustrated with the existing workflow of Excel sheets. I already do that enough at work sometimes, and I want my hobby to be fun and my work to be work. So I thought, hey, maybe I can help improve this environment a little bit about making sideboard guides, and so that's where it was born from. It was born from my own need, and I figured, hey, this could be something that the rest of the community uses as well.
Great.
Yeah, it's great. So I guess my big question to you is, if I'm someone, can I go to FlexLot and read other sideboard guides like you talked about? Is there a page there? What's it like for someone who hasn't visited the website before?
Yeah, so right when you get to the front page, first you'll log in, and then you can also see any public sideboard guide that someone's published and made public, which a lot of people have been doing. You can see public decks that people have just posted if it's just a deck list without a sideboard guide, though I'm not a big fan of that. I like my plans to be cohesive. But also there's different integrations with other services out there. So there's a Patreon integration and a Twitch integration whereby you can say, hey, I want to keep my existing workflows. I have Twitch subs. That's where I want to focus my time and energy. Or I have Patreon subs. That's where I focus my time and energy. You can just link your Patreon account or your Twitch account and then have your content be kind of locked behind that and say, hey, only my subscribers can access my content. So there's a bit of public stuff on there, and then there's a mix mash of content that's locked behind Patreon and Twitch as well. And then as soon as you go in, you can You just upload your deck list, you get taken to the Sideboard Guide interface, you can import all of a given format's metagame. Let's say you've chosen Pioneer or Modern or Legacy, what have you. You just click the button, it'll import you the top 10 or 15, whatever it is, decks, so you don't have to like think about that. You don't have to import that. I tried to make as little copy pasting as possible. I wanted everything kind of just to be integrated, and so to empower the creators and the players themselves.
So you're making it easy for us, which, as a creator, that's what we want. But also as a player, that's what I want. The amount of times that someone does well in a tournament, posts it on Twitter, they're like, "Hey, here's my list, here's my Sideboard Guide," and then it gets lost in the Twitterverse, right? If I'm not one in the first 10 minutes of seeing it, it's gone forever. Yeah. Having a set place where we can all upload, and it doesn't have to be Hall of Famers upload. It can also just be players that win the the FNMs, and everybody's just got guides, and we can work on it as a community. That's really, really good because I've got a day job. I can't sit around playing Magic continuously as much as I want to. I can't do that. So having, people that have got full-time jobs, being able to a place to go, someone's put the time and effort into that deck already. You can't just take the list and try and hope your best. I think that better with the sideboard. There's an actual list there, guide for you. That's so awesome that you came up with this idea. You basically took 2014 into 2024 and kind of like, look, why let's use technology to our advantage. So huge. How if I had a cap on, I'd take it off to you, my friend, because that is a great place, great resource, and a great community asset. And I'm all here for the community. So hats off for me. Any other questions, Mason?
No, I'm good to go. I know George is used to going to time in the round. He had a little bit extra. I want to give him what it's like to just get a couple minutes to breathe.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. I appreciate the kind words from both of you.
No, obviously, hats off. Keep doing the great work you're doing, my friend. We're going to let you get off to your team and, kind of refocus, get ready for that round number 5 as we're going to head back to the booth because I can hear everybody kind of calling the time in the round.
Thank you both.
Appreciate it. And as we come back to the booth, as I said, this is our last round. I'm Will Hall. That is Mason Clark. We appreciate all of you being here, but we hope that you stick around because, of course, we're going to pass off to the next set of casters who are going to do an amazing job, and they're going to carry you through to find out which team is going to take this down, advance, get themselves into the end of year finals, get themselves a trophy, get themselves a bunch of money, and for who all the other teams getting a bunch of points to get on that leaderboard. Any last words, Mason, before we call it to an end?
No, it was great to commentate with you. I'm glad I got to see sort of the last pure modern tournament, right? Like the next big modern tournament is Modern Horizons 3. In a lot of ways, we didn't really mention this, May won the last solo modern. Obviously, we have Modern today, but she took it down, living in sort of the last tap of Paper Magic. Very cool to see. And I'm excited to see in the booth with you, when MH3 comes out in just a month. And, we'll be here on June 22nd and 23rd for that. So catch us around then.
Cannot wait for that. So stick around, everybody, gentlemen, and enjoy more NRG. That is it from us. See you soon.